What if time was not created to limit life, but to help it grow?
Hmm.
Just let that question sit for a second. It's simple, but it's really the whole foundation for the deep dive we're taking today.
Welcome. And for this dive, we are stepping way outside the modern calendar and the
Yes,
stopwatch.
I would side.
We're analyzing a really fascinating source. It's titled The Rhythmic Architect: How Time Shapes Creation. And it pulls these essential, pretty transformative insights from ancient cosmology.
Specifically, we're talking about texts like the Brahma Purana, right?
Exactly.
So our mission today is to take this profoundly different view of time and, well, really dissect it. We want to challenge that ingrained idea we all have that time is just this relentless constraint.
A force that just takes things away.
Yeah, that diminishes what we have. And instead, we're going to explore it as a spiritual, necessary mechanism that was built specifically for growth, for development.
It's a huge shift. It's moving from just measuring, linear progression to understanding cyclical meaning.
Precisely. And if you're preparing for a meeting or studying a new field or even just curious about how ancient thinkers saw existence, this material gives you a crucial perspective.
It does. The core premise we're grappling with here is that time isn't just for measurement, it's for purpose. We're trying to understand the deep inherent meaning that's embedded in duration and change itself.
Okay, and just to give this material the authority it deserves, let's ground it for a moment. We're talking about the Purana tradition. For anyone listening who hasn't encountered this before, why does this source carry so much weight when it comes to cosmology?
Well, the Brahma Purana is one of the 18 major Puranas, which are these texts central to Hindu tradition. And they aren't historical records in the way we think of them. They're vast narratives about the creation of the universe, genealogies, the great cycles of time.
So when this text discusses time, it's not like an observation.
Not at all. It's describing the very architecture of reality as these ancient seers understood it. This perspective sees time as a divine expression that's just necessary for the universe to even function.
Excellent. Okay, so let's jump right into that architecture.
Yeah.
The text opens with this realization that pure static existence, what the source calls stagnation, was just fundamentally incompatible with the impulse of creation.
Right. If everything was unchanging, nothing could truly develop.
So what did the architect Brahma introduce as the alternative to just stasis?
The alternative was what you could call organized movement. The source is very clear. It says for life to transform and grow, there had to be, and this is the key phrase, movement, not chaos, but rhythm.
Not chaos, but rhythm.
And it's that foundational organizing structure, that
Yeah.
rhythm that is time itself.
I find that explicit avoidance of chaos to be the most critical detail here. We often romanticize chaos as the precursor to creation, but this is a totally different philosophy. It demands structure first. So why couldn't Brahma just hit go and allow for raw movement? Wouldn't that be faster?
Because the immediate onset of chaos would lead to collapse, not construction. I mean, think of it like a musician trying to play a symphony by having every instrument just play random notes at once.
You just get noise.
You get noise, not music. The Purana text actually specifies that time didn't arrive suddenly. It says it unfolded gently.
Jay.
And that gentle unfolding was essential. It ensured that events followed a meaningful sequence. Sequence is the prerequisite for meaning.
Okay, so if it had been this disruptive, instantaneous force, it would have just created friction and instability. It would have defeated the whole purpose.
Exactly. The purpose being orderly growth.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The rhythm ensures stability. But I have to ask, if time is just this structured rhythm designed to prevent chaos, how does the system account for genuine novelty, for, unexpected radical change?
That's a great question.
Doesn't a constant rhythm eventually lead back to a kind of predictability, almost a new form of stagnation?
Well, this is where the structure gets really sophisticated. The rhythm is stable, but the material moving through the rhythm is always evolving.
Ah, I see.
So the structure time is the constant, but the contents of time, life, experience, those are the variables. The text implies that pure static existence is incompatible with growth, and movement without structure, which is chaos, leads to collapse. Time is the necessary middle ground.
The rhythmic architect.
The rhythmic architect. It allows for continuous expansion, but always within a structured environment. So you can change, you can grow, but the framework holding you together stays sound.
So time is the foundational structure that organizes growth. It makes change not just tolerable, but developmental. It's the framework that turns random events into learning opportunities.
Exactly. And once that framework of rhythm is in place, the next necessary element for sustainability has to be introduced.
And that's the cycles.
That's the cycles.
That transition there. If time is a structure, then cycles are the mechanism that keeps that structure from, I guess, burning out. The source moves pretty quickly from rhythm to these specific necessary repetitions. What are the key partnerships it describes?
The source material is very relatable here. It uses the most vivid, accessible example, the cycle of day and night.
Okay.
And this pairing is presented, and I love this phrasing, not as opposites in conflict, but as partners in balance.
Partners in balance. That reframes so much of modern thinking. We always assign value judgments, right? Day is for productivity, for progress. Night is, I don't know, waste or vulnerability.
Yes, but the Purana says they're equally valuable partners, and the text describes the actual mechanics of this partnership pretty clearly.
How so?
It explains their function through a simple sequence. Rest followed action, and renewal followed exhaustion. These aren't just accidental environmental things. They're intentional, vital parts of the architect's blueprint for energy management.
So day, which is action and expansion, creates the demand for night.
Which is rest and contraction, exactly.
Right.
One cannot exist sustainably without actively leading into the other.
This is such a powerful synthesis.
Mm-hmm.
If creation were stuck in perpetual action, a perpetual day, always producing, it would be an excess. It would lead to burnout and then a total collapse of the system.
And on the flip side, if it were stuck in perpetual rest, perpetual night, that's just stagnation all over again.
Right.
So that's the core insight. The cycles, and this applies to the grand cosmic cycles of birth and dissolution just as much as our daily ones. They are essential for existence to renew itself without collapsing under its own weight.
So time isn't just ticking forward towards some endpoint.
Not at all. It's constantly looping and refreshing the universe to prevent overload and maintain its structural integrity.
You know, I think this is where the philosophy connects most directly with the listener's daily life.
Yeah.
We live in a 247 economy, this hustle culture that actively tries to eliminate the night part of the partnership, right?
So technology, constant connectivity, yeah.
How would this ancient cyclical view see our modern concept of chronic overload?
It would see it as a completely unsustainable excess, a rejection of a fundamental rhythmic law of the universe. And this raises an important question for you, the listener. If the cosmos itself, this immense engine of creation, needs an intentional period of rest to prevent collapse, what makes us think that we, as finite beings, can successfully operate outside that rhythm?
That's a heavy question.
The natural rhythm dictates that renewal isn't some accidental byproduct you just squeeze in. It's an intentional, foundational part of creation. It's productive inactivity.
Renewal as intentional production. That's a concept worth meditating on.
Sure.
Okay, so rhythm and cycles prevent the system from running itself into the ground. But let's pivot to the ultimate reason for it all. Why was this rhythmic, cyclical reality created in the first place?
The source is quite clear on its ultimate purpose. Time allows creation to experience learning and growth.
Learning and growth.
Those two concepts are intrinsically tied to the mechanism of duration. The text articulates it as a kind of philosophical chain reaction. Without time, there would be no change. Without change, there would be no understanding.
Without time, nothing changes. Without change, there's no sequence, so you can't compare the before and after. You can't reflect.
Exactly.
It's a powerful domino effect. But time does more than just let us observe things. It introduces accountability, which feels like a much more active force.
And this, for me, is the most revolutionary part. The creation of time necessarily introduced responsibility.
Responsibility.
The sources stated explicitly, actions now carried consequences. What was done in one moment shaped the next. Time turns life into a continuous feedback loop. It demands accountability for every single sequential movement.
Wow. So that elevates time from just being a stopwatch, a measurement tool, to a profound moral and ethical framework.
Absolutely.
It's not just when things happen, but how our present actions literally sculpt our future reality within that sequence. Without time, an action is just an event. It has no bearing on what follows.
But time ensures our lives become this continuous act of ethical construction. It transforms the cosmos into a schoolhouse where raw knowledge can't just be downloaded instantly. Wisdom can only emerge through experience, and that requires the sequential cause and effect rhythm that only time can provide. You have to move through the experience step by step and endure the consequences of what came before to gain true understanding.
So setbacks aren't failures. They're just necessary consequences feedback within a system designed for learning.
That's the idea.
This moves us beautifully toward reframing time, which is what we promised at the start. We began with the idea that time might not be a limit. So let's tackle that common human emotional response head on. Fear. People fear time because it seems to take things away.
That really is the ultimate test of acceptance, isn't it? Humans often fear time, seeing it as a force that takes away youth, ability, opportunities, loved ones.
Yeah.
The Purana directly reframes that fear. It presents time not as a diminishing force, but as a guide, a necessary condition that enables the deep sequential wisdom that would otherwise be impossible.
So it takes away the transient, but it enables the permanent.
Which is wisdom, yes.
It's a complete shift in perspective. Okay, so if we synthesize this entire deep dive into a few key takeaways, time is a necessary, gentle, cyclical rhythm. It introduces balance through cycles like day and night.
And accountability through consequences.
Right. And its entire function is to ensure continuous growth while preventing both stagnation and excess.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the philosophical message is one of acceptance. It's about active participation within the flow.
Just fighting time.
Fighting time by trying to halt its passage or resist aging or ignore its cycles is, from this philosophical view, fighting the very mechanism designed to help you learn and mature. You're fighting the architect of your own growth.
That is a very powerful thought to leave with, especially in a culture that's so obsessed with resisting age and resisting rest. This deep dive really forces us to re-examine our relationship with the clock, with the calendar. If time is truly a benevolent, rhythmic guide meant for learning, how does that change how we plan our week, how we embrace rest, how we respond when things inevitably change or seem lost?
It puts the onus on us to trust the unfolding of the rhythm.
And so that leaves you with, I think, a final thought to really mull over. If the primary purpose of time, the cosmic purpose, is to facilitate learning through this structured, necessary sequence of cause and consequence, then is any moment, and I mean any moment, even one that you perceive as a catastrophic setback or really painful loss, is it simply a non-negotiable step in the rhythmic pattern designed for your ultimate growth?
The pattern designed for growth.
Exactly. The pattern designed for your growth. Something to think about the next time the clock feels less like a guide and more like a war.